said we were going to do it for you, so we're here doing it for you. It is never too late, never too early to begin to take care of your finances. Never too late, never too soon to begin to build a budget, to begin to put your future away now. And so we said we were going to bring you it, and here it is. Build, budget, and thrive. I'm going to let him introduce himself, but we've got an awesome presenter today from Laddership Academy, Larry McDowell. I'm going to let him introduce himself. Y'all ready? Let's get it.
Hello, everyone. So, as she said, my name is Larry, but it's not important. The first thing I got to ask is a question. So the question is, what if you had a better hold of your money and you didn't have uncertainty about what was going to happen with your money and where to invest it? So today, we're going to uncover some mysteries around money and about refining your budget and building a system that actually thrives and works. So that when you sleep, your money doesn't sleep. Because if you at work making money and you go get off of work, what's your money doing when you get off work? So we got to get your money working while you're not working. That's how you build wealth.
Okay.
So what we're going to talk about today and discover, we're going to understand the origins and evolution of currency. I don't mean money, I mean currency, the undercurrent of your finances, currency. We're going to explore how currency influences the global and local economy. That's important for you to know because we're not just in this by ourselves and life doesn't happen in a vacuum. So what's happening out there, what does the price of avocados have to do with my budget? Well, we won't talk about it. Then we're going to discuss some practical budgeting strategies to thrive in today's financial environment because it's ever changing. There's always something going on. If you haven't paid attention, things go pretty fast. So I have a quick question for everyone. When you hear the word money, what's the first thing that comes to mind? And anybody can respond online, respond in here. When you think of money, this is just brainstorming. I want to hear what your thoughts are.
Bills.
Bills. Okay. Bills.
I think a lot of people think lack of.
Scarcity mentality, lack of money.
Yes.
I'm already stressed out how much money I don't have.
Right.
Okay. Anybody else? I got young people in the back, so I need to know what you guys think of money too, because this is where the dots begin to connect from the information that we know, passed down to me, passed down to you. So when you think of money, glad as you work. When you think of money, what comes to mind?
A job.
Job. Okay.
College.
Yep. That's the formula, right? Go to school. Who knows the story? Go to school, get good grades, get a job.
Good job.
And what does our grandfather say?
Job take care of you.
And what happens when it doesn't?
Right.
We don't talk about that.
No.
So, a brief history of my journey. I started thinking about money early. My first job was I had a paper route, and I used to deliver papers in the morning. And I would also spend the money as I collected it. I would just go to the store and get my snacks. And my mom always had to write a check at the end of that when they came to collect for the money for the newspapers I bought to deliver. So my relationship with money was very fluid, I would say. There was no investing. So as I grew up, I wanted to work in the bank. I wanted to wear a suit, carry a briefcase, and work in a high-rise building. That was my goal. I wanted to be like my mom. So when I first got my opportunity to work at the bank, I started in the basement. I worked my way up to the retirement team. I moved out to Seattle. And I just love banking. I love money. I love talking about money. I love what money does. And I decided that I wanted to educate myself a little more because I didn't get all the tools that I needed in college. But it was like, hey, go to college, get good grades, all that great stuff. But what happened was reality hit me. And things started costing more than I thought that they would. I didn't plan for some of those things. And so I got into home improvement industry and started working in roofing and siding and exteriors and all that stuff. And so what I learned about people, and also did mortgages, so a little bit of both. What I learned about people was we all seem to make the same kind of decisions, the same kind of financial decisions. And it wasn't about home improvement, it was more so about improvement in general. Why are people investing in their homes? Why are they buying a new roof or buying new windows? It's because they see that there's some kind of benefit to adding to the value of the house, because value of the house equals what? It starts with an E.
Equity.
Equity. And so if you have equity sitting in your house and you know you're paying a mortgage off and you're building equity, hopefully the home prices are going, or values are going up, and you start to build that equity, what happens when you retire? This is the normal story. What happens when you retire?
There's money there to support you.
Should be money in your house that you paid into it. You should be able to pull that money out, be able to travel and all that great stuff. And then we have a housing market crash, right? And so where does that equity go?
Down.
Right out the door, right out the window, it goes down. And so now our whole savings, our whole plan, this happened to my mom, where the 401k that she had got evaporated, in a sense. Like half of it was gone, essentially, because of the market crash. So had she had known, obviously she would have made a different choice. And so can we prevent all those things from happening? Well, we can prepare and diversify our portfolios. And I want to start talking about those kinds of words, because the people that I sit next to that are financially stable, they talk about these things even with kids.
Yeah.
How to diversify your portfolio, how to have a portfolio. What's a brokerage account? What does life insurance do? How do you save money? How do you budget? How do you plan? How do you increase money? How do you increase money? How do you increase education? So all these things are important for us to talk about and have those meetings. So we're going to talk a little bit about what does an annual financial meeting look like for a family? Like, do you sit down and actually talk about these things with your family? Right?
Yeah. Being consistent.
There is information that we pass down, just like we know the story about take care of your job or take care of you. That's come from our generation above us, came from generation above them, because there was something that happened that had them create that message to give to us. So what happened? So we're going to talk a little bit about the history of currency. So bartering was how currency actually started. Can you understand what that word barter means, or do you have an idea what that means?
Yeah. Exchange.
Yeah. And there were some limitations to that exchange of how do you determine the value of this cow versus that cow? So there was a problem with equality in bartering. Okay? So we're going to talk about origins and systems real quick. So what you're going to learn today is a comprehension of financial literacy, some money management skills, ability to set financial goals, and applying the knowledge to finances. This is the most important part, is this quadrant right here, is applying it. Because if you do nothing on Tuesday, nothing's going to change.
Right.
I was just talking to somebody before the class started. Well, I was talking to my aunt. And I was talking about running out of having too much money at the end of the money. Where, what's the plan for that? Right? You still got some days left, but you don't have dollars left. So how do we fix that? Well, we got to plan ahead, because once that happens, then it's almost too late. You will figure it out, but your money is based on a monthly basis, then you have to figure it out before you get to that point. So financial literacy is the knowledge and understanding of various financial concepts, tools, and practices needed to navigate the financial world and make informed financial choices. The informed is thinking forwards and backwards. So it's not just about, I got a paycheck, now I'm going to deposit it. Where does that money go after that? We have to think about long term. So we have a 5-year plan, we have a 10-year plan, we have a 50-year, we have a generational plan. That's what we need to come up with, not just let's survive the month. So understanding personal finance helps people build a positive relationship with money so we can spend and save responsibly. This isn't about don't spend money, not don't have fun. It's how do you do it responsibly, so at the end of that vacation that you're not struggling. Because what's the point of the vacation if you come back and you're stressed out?
Right.
So let's talk about that. So the origins and systems of money. So the barter systems to coins, paper money, and now what do we have?
Digital
Digital
Bitcoin.
currency. And this is moving fast. By the time we finish this, it will already have changed. So trade evolves to create economies and marketplaces, and these marketplaces actually become just a byproduct of people needing things. So when we talk about currency and money, and we're exchanging, that point of origin is just, that's where the marketplace lives now. So we're talking about the Silk Road. We're talking about all kinds of stuff, right? Stuff that exists now because people needed to trade. Then we talk about Industrial Revolution and the shift to fiat currency, paper money, stuff like that, okay? So here's how the evolution of money works. We're talking about bartering systems for cows, coins, and gold. But the reality is, fun fact for you, before metal coins came into play, there was gold, there was livestock, there was salt. Salt. Salt was used as currency before coins. Historically, all the numbers and all that stuff, the 80 and all that stuff, I'll let you research that. Take my word for it. Salt, so don't be salty. Look it up. So, salt was used and traded weight for weight, even in the replacement of gold in some places in Africa. Gold and salt were equal. Salt is was paid as salarium, which translates to salary. That's where that term came from. So now, when you apply for a job, you're talking about what's my salary going to be, which is the minimum question you should be asking. But this was origins from way before, right? So this is, I kind of spoiled the answer for you. But I was going to ask you if you know what would Judas spill on the table when he was sitting there with his elbow on the table? What did he spill on the table?
You finna teach me.
Salt.
Look at him right here. That's him right here. Look at that. Salt. This is why people salt pinch, throw it over their shoulder and spill salt to ward off the devil and the bad energy.
Wow.
Wow.
Salt's been around for a long time. Well, you would never know that because we don't use that for currency anymore. There is still a great salt energy in Salt Lake City, Utah. Right? There's still a lot of salt mines that are out there that are still in operation. So then they came to coins. Coins, if you can imagine the difference between salt and coins, what's one of the biggest differences that you can think of between those two?
Weight.
Weight. Yeah, so even carrying a pound of salt versus a pound of coins, you're still carrying a pound. What is the mass or size of that? Right? So in the Chinese industry, back in those days, when they created coins and they stamped them, those coins became the currency. They replaced salt.
Wow.
Replaced goods. So then they became stamped, and they were made out of gold and silver. So we got metal coins, which we still kind of use today. I went to Starbucks and got a coffee, and somebody gave me some coins. What is this ancient money? What do I even do with these? So they're just in a baggie in my glove compartment, twisted up. Like I don't even know what to do with it. So the kingdom of Lydia introduced the first metal coins. These coins became standard weights and were stamped with official symbols to denote authenticity. You can't just make some coins at your house. They have to come from a centralized place. So we'll talk about decentralization as well. So the coins solved a lot of issues in the bartering system, so they became more of a standardized unit. So not just my cow is worth more than your cow, it's this, there's no question of what this is worth.
Right.
And so how does that relate to all today? So the Roman Empire issued standard coins like the denarius, which facilitated trade across vast territories. Now you can expand your reach because everybody has the same information. And once you have the same information, you can create a bartering system and a marketplace.
Okay.
So then we have the development of paper money. We'll get to that in just a second. So during China, the Tang and Song dynasties created paper money, which allowed for even more efficient trade because now the weight was reduced. And now you can change the value of each piece of paper just by what's printed on it, just like we do now. So by the 17th century, the European nations adopted banknotes issued by banks and backed by gold reserves because then it was tied to some kind of substance, which was gold. So whatever the gold was worth and the money was tied to that, as long as the gold fluctuated, the money would fluctuate. So gold is one of those things that doesn't lose value, doesn't fluctuate. So the dollar should be more stable, which is not what it's related to right now. We're not on a gold standard anymore. So who determines the value of the dollar? Yes, the government does. And so when they create the systems that we now operate under, they determine how much that dollar is worth and how far that dollar goes. So be careful who you vote for. All right, so the financial systems now are as far as managing money and credit, we're going to talk a little bit about credit as well and some of the laws that are out there that we need to be aware of and how to take advantage of those. So with the commodity of money, the intrinsic value of things such as cattle, grains, and shells are used as medium for exchange, but now that there's metal coins, it's changed the game, and now there's fiat currency, digital currency, that's changed the game as well. So let's talk about how money influences global and local economy. And I mean local as in your pocket. How does it influence you? So the impact on imports and exports, have you heard the word tariffs?
No, never heard that word before.
It's a new term that just came out this year. So we can create a stronger national currency that makes imports cheaper and exports more expensive, affecting trade balances. Again, remember the price of avocados. How does that affect your budget, your pocket? I don't know if you've been to the grocery store lately, but there's a lot of product there. And if you look at the news, you'll think that the economy's failing, that there's nothing out there for us, but you walk into the grocery store, it's full of stuff. So how does that affect your pockets? Well, you've seen the price of avocados going up and down. It's because some farm in Mexico or wherever has created, has a tariff on it now, so the price has to go up. And that's affecting now your economy. So either you don't do avocados or you pay more. So conversely, a weaker currency makes exports cheaper and imports more expensive because you're sending stuff out, which have a weak economy. Bringing stuff in is now more expensive. So, can currency depreciate? Easy answer, yes, if you go down, right? So when a currency loses value, imported goods become more expensive, potentially leading to inflation. Does anybody believe that we're headed for a recession in the next 6 months?
I think recession and inflation are bipolar. They don't know what they want to do.
Right, exactly.
Maybe.
So inflation does create a recession in some senses because things cost more money. We can't afford those things, and now we got way too much money at the end of the money. We're talking 2 years now. So the global economic influence, so the reserve currency, the US dollar, for instance, serves as the world's primary reserve currency, influencing global trade and finances. Its strength or weakness can have widespread economic implications. So when our money goes down, it makes a big impact in the entire world. It's not just us. It's not just Auburn. It's not just Washington. It's the entire world. Our economy is a good economy. We just need to be able to maximize it. So let's talk about the Industrial Revolution, and then I'm going to ask you to give you some questions to answer. So as a production shifted to factories, there was a need for more flexible monetary systems because now you're expanding what can be produced and what is traded. So you have these, the Industrial Revolution. Gold-backed currencies became the standard, allowing nations to manage economic growth. The rise of banking institutions and credit systems supported expansion. And so if you don't have the money in your pocket or the coins in your chest, your coin chest, how do you get money from another country? Credit, right? Or bank notes. Because it's easy to write based on what you say you have and what you're representing for yourself. That equals a certain number. And that happens with transactions today when you want to buy a house. It's not just what you have in the bank, because you may not have $1 million in the bank. But you got $20,000 in the bank, or whatever it takes to get that house. The rest of it is payments. So those are bank notes. So in the 20th century, many nations moved away from the gold standard to fiat currency. Money with no intrinsic value, that's what fiat currency is. This is backed by the government authority. So it allowed the governments to manage economies more flexibly, such as adjusting the money supply during recessions. So when we do have a recession, things can be adjusted before you even wake up in the morning. And now you're waking up to a whole different environment, a whole different world, a whole different set of rules. So when we start talking about digital currency, this is the reason I think why that's been created, because what it's leveraged on is everybody else's idea of value, not just one entity of the government. So we're talking about blockchain technology at this point. So the young kids that are coming up, they have access to all this information, and it's going to be easy for them to understand it. But for me, I'm like, I don't even know where to start.
Right.
I have no idea where to put my money. I think I have some money out there in Ethereum, or I don't know. I don't even know where it's at.
What?
Some kind of digital coin I signed up for.
Don't use those kind of words here.
Okay, so I have some questions for you. So the first question is, this is in reference to barter to coins. Okay, so what was one major limitation of the barter system, and how did the induction of coins address it?
Value. You know,
Yes.
what I'm trying to give or give you may be worth more than what you have to give me.
Right.
I may not know that at the time.
Yeah, the cow might be sick.
Right.
Whose authority is governing that?
Right.
There's a problem. It's trust.
Well, that's limited.
Yeah. So the need for double coincidence of wants. Coins provided a standard unit of value. So I may not need a cow or a goat. I may need something else. But you have coins, I can use those coins to buy other things that I might need. I don't need that cow. I have 6. This is about trade and economies. So how did trade routes like the Silk Road contribute to the development of civilizations? I'll answer this for you. They enabled the exchange of goods, ideas, and technologies. So it wasn't just about money. It was currency, ideas, and technology. That's what the Silk Road exchange was about. Because you meet somebody that has something that you need, and you have something that they need, you don't just do the transaction. You're talking about exchanging ideas and ideologies and all that stuff. That's a whole other class.
Yeah.
So paper money. What was the introduction of paper money? How was it significant in innovation to trade?
What was the
How was paper money significant to the trade markets and the marketplace?
That was after the salt, right?
After salt,
That was
after
after
coins?
coins, yeah.
I think it maybe it created a balance of worth, maybe, you know. Your dollar paper is the same as my dollar paper.
Or
Yeah.
what?
Well, I think that was at coins was the beginning of that, having a
Standardizing,
standard.
yes, yes. And the dollar was able to continue that standardization, but also increase the value of certain notes.
Okay.
And it made it easier to make larger purchases, because now you can carry $1 million
Right.
instead of $1, right? Because that piece of paper is worth more, but everybody knows that that piece of paper is worth that.
Okay,
We
gotcha.
all know.
Yeah.
So, as far as ancient civilizations, how did currency contribute to the stability of the Roman Empire? I'll answer that. It funded the infrastructure. It paid soldiers in what?
In the army.
Solarium.
Oh, salt.
It paid in
Yeah.
Salt. He's worth his weight in salt.
Oh.
They got paid. He's worth his salt. Even in the slave trade from Mali. This is back in Africa when people were coming over from being traded. The trade economy in Mali was about salt. Why was salt so important? Because it preserved meat. It preserved the meat that you got from the livestock you had. So it's very important, even back in Egypt.
Wow.
I was definitely going to get to that. I was like, why? With salt.
Right. And it's plentiful,
Right.
right? So you can, there's a lot of salt. How much water do we have on the planet? That's the trick question. Salt water. And they're not making any more of it, right?
Right.
So it unified the economy in vast territories. Now, fiat currency, why did nations move away from the gold standard? This is a bonus question. If you answer this question, class is over and you won.
Maybe that particular country didn't even have gold or access to it.
There you go. Class over. There you go.
Ooh, I got an A. Oh,
It's not backed by a physical commodity, but by government trust.
Oh, there we go.
It allows for more flexible economic management. So with the fiat, it's not tied to the gold. I don't know if you know this or not. I don't even know how true it is, but I'm going to tell you that what I've heard is that the gold that we balanced our dollar on was leveraged multiple times. I mean, is that possible? Do you think a
How
government would do that?
of course not. No.
So, all three of you, all four of you adults in here, I have some gold.
Keep it.
This dollar is worth this much gold. I got this much gold in reserve, so I'm going to give you $1 million. You and you and you and you. All of you are leveraged on the same reserve of gold, even though you all have $1 million each. You all are going to pay me. I know I'm going to charge you interest, and y'all going to pay me, but I'm not giving up the gold. You can't come to me and say, here's my $1 million, I'd like my gold.
Right.
You know where it's at.
Right.
We've been hoodwinked. Run amok.
So what is the one key difference between traditional currency and cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin? Cryptocurrencies are decentralized and operate independently of central banks. So we don't have to depend on the people that we can't see and trust in what they say. We can depend on each other. And that's why the local economy is so important. We're going to talk about the stretching the dollar in our communities in a minute. So the key points to the history of money. We'll wrap this section up. After I talk about avocados. So barter to currency. So societies began with bartering. The paper money originated in China, replaced heavy coins. Trade routes like the Silk Road created centralized marketplaces, exchanged ideas and goods, cultural growth. The currency role in civilization unified currency systems such as the Roman Empire's coinage. The Industrial Revolution brought the need for flexible monetary systems, leading to fiat currency, and now we have digital currencies like Bitcoin. So, a 400-year-old product mostly cultivated in the last 7,500 years and contributed about $11 billion in U.S. economy output in 2021 and 22 during COVID. Was COVID a down year? Or down years?
I thought they were. Yeah.
It depends on who you ask. Because some companies flourished during COVID.
Yeah.
Some companies, a lot of companies failed. Go ahead.
Things of necessities. Those things didn't go down. Tissue.
Yeah.
They flourished, you know, during that time. You know, so
That
a
makes
lot
sense.
of people that didn't have things of necessities, their businesses went under. But the people that were supplying, you know, necessities really came up.
Yeah, I was at a home improvement company during that time. We opened 8 branches. We were very successful. I don't even think we missed work.
Wow.
Because we were basically essential because people were at home and they were doing home improvement projects because that equity was going to be there. And so we became an essential player in keeping the economy going.
Yeah.
So
That makes so much sense.
depends on who you ask.
Right.
Wow.
So avocados, right? So we flourished. People were probably making avocado drinks at that time, which is why it flourished, right? $11 million. So avocado farming can have a significant impact on economic systems, both positively and negatively. Positively, it can create jobs. I don't know that it created jobs in the U.S. because we're not necessarily cultivating our land to create avocado farms, but there are places like in Mexico who already have avocado farms who can now expand because the need for what we want is there.
Right.
And now we can exchange and barter based on currency, based on digital currency, based on tariffs. It's a sore subject. It can be a source of income for smallholder farms, provide alternative to traditional crops. Avocado farming can also lead to environment issues like deforestation and water scarcity, which can negatively impact a local economy. So now you've got less trees more farms because you're trying to export. And now you got a scarcity of water that you already had. Now it's increased, but you now have exports. And how does that money come back to me is the question. Is it the same value? We don't know. I can't tell you for sure if it's the same value or not, but I can tell you that's probably not in favor of the farmer. So, job creations, increased income for farmers, export revenue, rural income growth, and some of the biggest opportunities existed with youth and women, because the men were out doing their job, but the farm was being taken care of by youth and women in those environments.
Wow.
Believe it or not, in some civilizations, women still work at home and take care of the kids.
Back up.
So negative impacts, deforestation, water scarcity, all those things exist. So avocado farming can be a powerful force for economic development, but it's crucial to address the environmental social challenges it possesses. So substantial practices such as water efficient farming techniques, that would be a great business at that time to create. If you know how to be more efficient with cultivating water, maybe a circulation system, you could go somewhere like that and show them how to do that and sell a business, creating an economy for yourself and for them. Responsible for land managements are needed. So I bought more land. Now I need to be able to manage that land. So how do I do that? So all this stuff exists because we need to be able to create a better system of barter and exchange of currency. Any questions on the history of currency and how it relates to today? What questions come to mind?
Well, the salt part really, threw me because I always think of salt biblically,
Right.
number one. But now, and I saw this, and I'm gonna have to go look at other pictures of that to see what was going on that table. But I did not know that it's the paper money started in China. When you mentioned Silk Road, I'm thinking silkworms. I'm thinking material and dye and things like that. I had no idea. I always thought not only did diamonds and gold come from Africa, I thought paper money did too. And so so then now my question is literally why? Like what happened? What did it happen on the road where they discovered that, these coins are ineffective?
Right.
What was the change of thought there that made them who did that?
Like whether you're walking or horseback or pulling a cart, like how are you transporting?
Right.
Exactly.
Right,
Exactly.
all those coins, and now we all think it's the same value. So I got 1 million coins. That's a lot to carry.
Yeah.
But paper money was like,
Well, what about the salt? How, the salt and its value? I mean, by the pound or the grain or
by the weight.
Just by the weight.
Just the weight of it. Like whoever determined the weight of that salt was like, this much salt is worth this much money. And it was the same as gold. This is equal to this. So here's your pay for this week. Here's your salarium. Here you can go buy this. And the person you buy from agrees that that's the weight that measures. So you had to also manage your own weight.
Weights, yeah. Wow.
That's the key word. Manage your own.
Yeah. So from the great philosopher Earl Danair. I'm just kidding. Let's keep working.
I was really finna believe you too. Wow.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about budget. So personal finance in today's economy. This is a little bit more involved with credit and stuff like that. So we're going to go talk about that for a second. So the modern economy's impact. We're going to talk about some practical strategies in personal financing. So this is inflation, interest rates, debt, income variability. Anybody ever heard of that
No.
term?
Variability.
Yeah.
What is that?
My income just ain't the same every month.
Right.
Practical budgeting. So we're going to talk about needs versus wants, categorizing expenses, building an emergency fund, because it's something we talk about, and we like to talk about, but in reality, how many people have an emergency fund? And what does that actually look like? Because you can easily dip into it and the emergency fund is gone.
Everything is
So debt
emergency.
management, prioritizing payments and reducing high interest liabilities. Savings and investments basics, and we're talking about compound interest and retirement planning. For you young people, this is all information you don't need to know right now, but you will need to know, okay? Gladys, you work, right? Okay. So the modern economy's impact on personal finance. So inflation erodes purchasing power over time. It makes it essential to save and invest in ways that outpace it. So you're saving money. What vehicle do you have that's saving money, that's earning money? Typically, where do you put your money?
Savings account.
And then anybody know the interest rate on the savings account right now? 0.5.
Point nothing.
We don't need to calculate that out right now, but we know that $100 is not going to pay us that much over time. That savings account. The problem is inflation is how much? Even just a guess.
15%.
28.
Some interesting guesses. Yeah, inflation usually is pretty high, but even at 4%, let's just say just a nominal number, 4%, because that's very conservative. Your inflation is definitely outpacing your savings if you just put it into a savings account. So interest rates impact borrowing costs, mortgages, credit cards, investment returns. So managing your debt wisely is crucial. There's also this new thing called the gig economy and income variability. When I say gig, I mean a side hustle.
Oh,
Or
sorry.
something extra that you're doing. Does anybody in there have an extra business? Right, that's the gig economy. And so with the rise of gig work and side hustles, income is often less predictable. I've been in sales for all my life pretty much, and my income has always fluctuated. I like the idea of controlling my efforts to create a product. My salt, or what my salt is worth, is what I should be expecting in return. It's a hard time going back to, I want to give you X amount of value per hour, and I'm going to get back X amount of dollars. When I want more than that, it becomes a little bit of a challenge for companies because they see my position as worth this amount of money.
Right.
So our exchange of salt isn't always equal. My efforts should return the money that I expect to make.
Wow.
So budgeting for irregular income streams requires a focus on essential expenses and building a financial cushion. And that's what we're talking about, saving money. So here's some practical ways. So needs versus wants. But build an emergency fund, debt management, savings and retirement basics, credit and bank scorecards. When I say credit, I mean credit your score, credit reports, but there's also this other thing right here that you may not be aware of called bank scorecards. We'll talk about that in a second. So needs versus wants. So we got to categorize our expenses, help prioritize necessities, housing, utilities, discretionary spending, all those things. So here's a sample of a budget. This is an Excel budget. It's very simple. You can look these up online. You don't have to use this one. I'm not selling this or giving this to you, but this is just a sample, right? So we talk about housing, rent, and mortgage. So a budgeted amount, $1,500. Actual amount, $1,520. Your variance is -$20. Why did it go up? Maybe the electricity went up, or something happened where your income, where your monthly amount changed. Property taxes, $300, but your actual amount was $310. So you can see everything that you line out, which is what I wanted to do for you is, we'll get to this in just a second, is creating a cash flow quadrant. So I'll have you write that down as far as how we want to position that so you can see for yourself what you're spending. Utilities, electricity, water, groceries, entertainment, savings, debt payoff, all these things are things that you have to consider. So this budget says that I'm planning for $39.80, but what I'm spending is $4,007. I just have a variance of $27. Not bad.
Yeah.
The question is, how often do you do this? How often do you know? Do you actually have it written down somewhere? Do you actually have it planned out? And not a lot of people do, but they have it in their head. I know what it looks like, what it should look like, but I also know how long it should take me to go from point A to point B in traffic, what it should look like, and what it actually looks like. Somebody once told me that the map is not the territory. The map is not the territory.
The map is not.
Just because the map says this doesn't mean that the territory will show up that way.
Gotcha.
Oh, okay.
Right? 405 says it's 10 miles, but it's going to take you an hour. But on the map, it says you should go from here to here on a normal day at this amount of time. Same with your budget. If you map it out, you may come up against some variances, whether it's income or cost, and you have to be able to plan for that, and that's where the savings comes into play. How much of a cushion should you have?
I say at least double what you need.
Right.
Okay.
I was gonna say you should, well, at least this is the way I was raised, is that you should always have a month to 2 months of what you need monthly in reserve.
Mm-hmm.
And it 6 months. It does vary per household.
Wait. You said 6 months?
6 months. Leilani said 6 months.
You say 6 months? You balling. You balling. Okay.
Well,
Okay.
and think about it, right? If you had 6 months set aside, say when COVID hit, people wouldn't have went into financial crisis because they would have had money to sustain them for months to come up with a plan B during COVID.
Yeah.
A lot of people lost their jobs and they were in financial crisis because they didn't have anything in reserve. But if I had 6 months,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That gives me a half a year to figure out what do I do now.
Right.
But
Yeah.
when you don't have that, you go into immediate financial crisis.
Yeah, you got too much money at the end of the month.
Right. Well,
Immediately. Right?
Immediately, yeah.
Immediately. And so you gotta have a plan now because the
Right.
plan was what would we say the plan was when we first started was go to school, get good grades, get a job. The job will take care of you, take care of your job. And what happens when that job is no longer taking care of you, you now have to take care of yourself, but you don't have the tools and knowledge to know what to do next.
Yeah.
And if you went online and you looked up something on Facebook that said self-employment income, there's so much information out there and it goes so fast, it's hard to know what is actually the right path. And you can spend 3 to 6 months trying to figure out what the path is going to be. I'm telling you because I've done it. So it depends on your personal financial bucket as far as how long you need to make a decision to pivot, because that's the most important part about it is what is it going to take for me to pivot to the next thing.
yeah.
You can go get a second job, you can get another job if your job fails, and how long, what does that job pay, how much is it going to take for you to build that money back up, how much money, now you got a week left, now you got 3 weeks left a month, and a week left of money, a week of money. So here's some practical budgeting strategies. So needs versus wants. So categorizing expenses helps prioritize necessities. Building an emergency fund, experts say 3 to 6 months of living expenses. Debt management, focus on paying off high interest debts. So you have to know what your statements look like. You have to know what the interest rates are. Don't be afraid to look at those statements, because that will tell you everything you need to know, and it'll tell you everything you don't want to know. Like, actually,
Right.
Sometimes I don't know. So pay off your high interest rate debts. Use strategies like the snowball effect, which is paying down your smallest balances first. And then you take that money, say you're paying $20, you take that money and you add it to the next one. So now you're paying, what you were paying 40, now you're paying 60. So you're snowballing your monthly payment. There's another one called avalanche, which is called highest interest rates first. So you got snowball, which you're building up, and you got avalanche, which is coming down, which you got your highest interest rates that you're bringing down first. 2 methods you can choose from. Savings and investment basics. So leverage compound interest by starting to save and invest early. And I mean talking to somebody, a financial advisor. And I'm not saying that you have to spend all this money to do that, but you got to at least know somebody that can give you some expert advice. I'm not that person. I'm not your guru. I'm not your financial advisor. I'm just letting you know that it's out there. So you got to talk about options like 401ks and IRAs and those from your employer. I got to tell you, don't ignore free money because it doesn't look like free money.
Right.
And I'm talking about investing in that 401k. When they say they'll match,
Yeah.
take advantage, match it.
They don't even do that anymore, I don't think.
Some companies do. They'll match it, but most companies won't do that if you're on a certain level of income.
Yeah.
highly compensated employees don't usually get a match because they get compensation in their income. Or it's capped. There's all these other IRA options also. Leilani and I have been in some financial investment classes, and we talk about things like golden IRA. Have you ever heard of that? Unlimited contribution, all tax-free. The only thing you can't do is invest in your own stuff, so you get a partner, and y'all invest in
each other. Come on.
Well,
Mid mommy. These also provide tax advantages. So it's not about how much you make, it's how much you keep. Right? Because you can make $200,000, $100,000, but how much are you keeping? That's where your budget comes into play. I made all this money, but I have all this stuff, and I have no savings, I have no retirement, I have no cushion, but I got stuff. So how do we reduce that stuff and start putting it into the future? The other thing is repairing your credit and banking scorecards. Now, the credit repair, obviously, a higher credit score helps you get better interest rates, more opportunities to earn credit. It also reduces borrowing costs and increases financial opportunities. So pay your bills on time, keep your credit utilization low, review credit reports regularly. So sign up for Experience, sign up for TransUnion and Equifax, and get that information so that you always have access to it. Glad that you're working, so make sure you start to pay attention to your credit where your money goes. You've got a good team around you and community, so you should be able to take advantage of some of that. Understand how banking institutions evaluate borrowers to improve a financial profile. So just because your credit score says uno momento, please. My battery is low because we're over here doing some stuff.
I'm gonna keep you right here live.
Okay.
Cause see, when we live, everybody gets it all, so you get it too.
So we talk about the snowball effect versus the avalanche effect. The method of paying things down. I'm still live.
Yeah, because we like it like this.
Okay. So savings basics. So large compound interest. Start by starting to save and invest early. Explore your options like 401k. Remember, don't turn down free money because it doesn't look like free money. Talk to your financial advisor. Find a financial advisor that will talk to you. There's plenty out there. So here's some rules. 6 finance rules. We're going to talk about one of these, which is this first one is the 50-30-20 rule. We'll talk about that in just a second. I know it's a little hard to read. But it talks about how much of your money should go towards expenses, how much should go towards savings. There's a rule of 72, if you've never heard of that. It's about taking how much money you are investing. 72 divided by 10 is 7.3 years. This is whatever your interest rate is going to be. So it's just a number that you need to know to leverage other options for investing. So rule of 72 can be applied to any amount of money that you want to see how long is it going to take your money to double. And this will tell you that number based on what interest rate you have and how much you install.
There we go.
We are cooking with fish grease.
Catfish grease.
So again, we'll talk about 50-30-20. There's a 3 times, 6 times EF rule. 300 rules, so I'll definitely show you this one, but these are all rules that you can look up. So any of those 3 times the rent rule is pretty simple. We want to have 3 times the rent in savings so that you can adjust and pivot if things go wrong, if you have too many months left at the end of the money. So how do we learn from the past with our credit? So the evolution of currency from barter to digital money shows how financial systems adapt to social trends and needs. Just as trade routes unify currencies, fostering prosperity in ancient economies, modern financial tools can help individuals build wealth and achieve security. Managing today's challenges, so just as civilizations before responded to economic shifts, like the move to fiat currency, because what if you had all this gold or coins and you didn't have fiat currency that was now being traded? It's almost like you got all this money that's not worth as much as it should be compared to what is happening now. Just like if you have 500,000 in savings or investment, but it's not equal to what is available to you now, because the value of that has changed. The way that money is circulated has now changed. You can have mattress money. Maybe that dollar is not worth as much as when you put it in the mattress. So you have to adapt to inflation, income variability, and economic systems like the gig economy. So the historical shift to more efficient systems, digital currencies, parallel the need for personal financial efficiency, including budgeting, investing, and preparing for retirement. What is retirement? To stop working, maybe? I mean, what is retirement?
To be able to live well after you stop working.
Yeah, okay. Anybody else? I mean, it's a good explanation. Yeah, living well after you stop working, because that's where you're producing the most amount of money that you'll earn is by working. But what if there was another way? What if your money kept working and you stopped working? Investing, right? How you get those returns? The Rule of 72, how long is it going to take for this money to double, right? What is my investment strategy? How much interest rate am I getting versus the amount of money I'm putting in? So we got to start thinking differently. Because working, we can't work forever.
No, we cannot.
We're probably going to outlive our working career. And what do we do in that time? So in that time, one of the ways we can do that is by fixing our credit. This is not necessarily a credit repair class, but I'm going to give you some options for fixing credit. So this is the Fair Credit Reporting Act. There are laws that say how a credit report should be distributed to you, how the information should be kept, how it should be managed. Think about all the financial systems that have been in place that have now led up to credit, right? The weight of salt, the weight of gold, and now they have to tell you how this information is being stored. The problem is every reporting company has to follow every single one of these FCRA laws in order for that report to be valid. And how many times do they invalidate that law by not reporting the right information? A lot of times. You just don't know what it is because you don't look at the Fair Credit Reporting Act. It's a lot of
That's a
information.
whole entity in itself.
Yes. There's 263 laws in the Fair Credit Reporting Act that have to be followed in order for something to be reported on your report legally. If it's not, then you can dispute it. But the problem is how do you actually dispute it?
You said 200 and what?
63.
263 laws that must be followed in order for any kind of entity to report on your credit.
So for that, they can report it, but if they don't follow all of those laws, some of them may not apply to you, but if they don't follow all of those laws, then that can be disputed and removed from your credit report.
Is this national, or does this go by state?
It's national.
Wow.
So your credit score is based on a few factors: utilization, age of your credit, how much you have borrowed over a specific time, how long your accounts have been open, diversity of accounts. All those kinds of things contribute to your credit score. The reporting is a whole other aspect because those are companies out there who report it. There's probably 100 different credit scores out there that you may not even be aware of. We know of 3, right? Which is our FICO. FICO and the Advantage score are different. Advantage is a different score. But when you go get your financing for whatever you're buying, what report are they pulling? I ask people that.
Oh, wow.
Like what FICO score are you pulling? Is it FICO 8? Is it FICO? Which one is it? They don't know.
Are they supposed to pull a specific one for if you go for a car or buy a house or?
They do pull specific ones for a house versus a car. So when you are looking at your Experian credit report or your credit score, it might show a different one than if you went on Chime or if you went on NerdWallet or something, where they pull a different or older model. So you may think, okay, my score is 700, I can go apply for some stuff and buy some things. But in reality, when you go apply for a bank loan, they're looking at a whole different score.
That's crazy.
That's why it comes at 680. And there's nothing you can really do because the person on the other side of the table that's taking that application isn't really interested in knowing that information. Because it doesn't benefit them for them to tell you what score they're pulling from. It only benefits you because you know where to go to get that score fixed.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like I'm stressed out for a whole nother reason right now.
So, you can imagine that there's no overnight fixes for credit.
Right.
You can, again, you can go online and people will tell you, oh, this is how I fix my credit in 30 days. I got, 100 points in 30 days. And they'll tell you all these things and secrets and all this stuff. And I don't subscribe to all of that because it's usually more complicated. The system is not designed for us to quickly turn our score into an 800 credit score. It's not built like that. It's built like, I need you to go do some stuff in order to get to this score, because to me, as a company, that salt is worth this. But you're telling me your salt is this, and we ain't talking about the same substance.
Right.
You're trying to bring sugar, and I'm talking about salt.
Okay.
So I need you to get on the salt level over here that I'm on, so that we can exchange the same information at the same time on this Silk Road at this desk, so I can give you this loan. And it shouldn't even be the bank saying, okay, you made the minimum requirements, I'm going to go ahead and give you a loan. It should be us saying, I made the minimum requirements, I'm comfortable getting this bank loan.
You get to get my interest, but I don't like that other.
I'm choosing who I get the loan from because I'm paying the interest back to you.
To
and I'm
you.
interested in you as a company because banking is a company.
Right.
Fun fact, did you know
No.
that Starbucks is in the top 10 for bank deposits?
No.
Starbucks is not a bank, but when you see a neighborhood coming up, don't you see a Starbucks popping up? And a storage facility?
No. What?
If you follow that stuff, you'll know where the economy is coming up next.
Yeah.
So, Starbucks, you're going to, does anybody have a Starbucks app?
Of course. Hello.
You could be sitting in the drive-thru and forget that you didn't put money on your app. And by the time you get from the drive-thru to the window, you know, and add $100, $50, whatever, to your app. Here you go. Thank you. One coffee, $25. But because of that, people deposit money from their bank right into the Starbucks app. Based on the deposit, Starbucks is in the top 10 of deposits.
Wow.
But what did they do with that money?
Yeah, what do you mean?
Another Starbucks just opened up right now.
Wow.
But what did the price of the coffee do?
It went up.
What's the benefit? You buy 10 coffees and you get a free...
I get a free coffee.
No, you get a free shot.
Free shot in my coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
So the salt is not the same.
Yeah. I see.
So I'm not saying don't use Starbucks app. I'm saying that the way... delete. I'm just saying that the way the economy is set up is not for us to win.
Right.
It's for us to utilize the system. And we don't make the rules. Just like we don't make the rules here. But we expect everybody to follow the rules.
Yeah.
So it becomes a trust thing.
Wow.
So, talking about credit. So dispute errors on your credit report. So you got to get your credit report. You get free annual credit reports from annualcreditreport.com. Not freeannualcreditreport.com. That's a paid one. This one is annualcreditreport.com. You get a free report from all three bureaus every year. Once a year. Annualcreditreport.com. So you can dispute inaccuracies such as late payments that are incorrect and accounts you didn't open. But how would you know back in Tuesday of last year if you made that payment on time? You wouldn't really know. You'd have to go based on what the credit report said, what the creditor said, and all that stuff in your statement. So if you never look at your statement, and your bank account, you don't compare the two,
You won't
this
know.
is that monthly meeting or an annual meeting with your family. Sit down with the families, like, this is how we're gonna do this. Everybody's getting their credit reports, everybody's getting their bills, everybody's getting their bank statements, and we're just gonna compare and make sure everything is good. So when you guys leave the house and you grow up, you have the tools that you need to do this on your own. That's what we need to teach them, not just get a job and those are all good skills, also getting a job, getting good grades and all that stuff. But how do I learn the stuff that I don't learn at school? I learn it at home. And that's what we need to start. It's an old statement. People say learn from your parents at home. So you can correct your errors, can provide a quick boost in the inaccurate information that was negatively impacting your score. So bringing your score up, you can dispute incorrect information to bring your score up. Negotiate with creditors. I'm not saying that you should ignore them for long, but you can negotiate with them. If you're late on payments or your interest rate is higher, you can negotiate a lower payment. They want to keep you as a customer. And the worst thing is to close that account. So if you're frustrated because your interest rate's high, fix your credit score or negotiate with them to bring that interest rate down. You can pay for deletes for some things, where you can ask them to delete inaccurate information, and they'll charge you a fee for that, but you can pay for that as well. You can become an authorized user for someone, or become an authorized user on an account for someone else that already has a card, that has good history, good payments, good balance. You add that trade line to your account without giving them a card. They don't get anything, they just get a reporting on the report. And they get the benefit of all that history. And it helps boost the score. The last time
Like co-signing almost, ain't it?
it's like cosigning. It's like lowercase cosigning. Because you're not signing anything saying that you're getting a card or anything. I'm just adding you as an authorized user. It'll say on there, AU, on your credit report, AU authorized user.
Yeah.
So you don't necessarily get the full benefits as if you had your own account, but you get some benefits. You can reduce your credit utilization, paying down your credit balances, and then also use secure credit cards. Even if you have credit already, you can add secure credit cards to your account. My kids did this. They went and got an account for $200 at a credit union. Those are the best places to go because you're a member, not a customer of the bank. So they usually give you better rates. So you open up a secure card for $200 and you use that money to buy Starbucks.
I'm feeling
Every
judged.
month. And then you pay it off. And then after a few months, they will convert that money from secured to unsecured and give you that $200 back. Then what do you do with that $200?
Lunch.
Christian?
Lunch.
Oh, lunch. Okay. So before we go ahead and have some lunch, it's going to be hard for you to have lunch online. But we'll be back. So when we come back, we'll talk about a couple of scenarios I want to go over with you as far as how people have done this and what impact it had on them. And then we'll do the second half and wrap up.
All right.
All right? So we'll be back.
All right.